These are the 7 levels of zombie TV shows. Level 1, trash shows. Some zombie shows are so bad they make you wish the undead would just bite the writers instead. These are the bottom feeders of the genre, the shows that tried to cash in on zombie popularity but face-planted harder than a walker off a bridge. Reality Z sits at the top of this trash heap with a brutal 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. This Brazilian remake of Dead Set takes the clever British satire about reality TV contestants trapped during an outbreak and somehow drains all the fun out of it. The show swaps the original's sharp social commentary for cheap gore and forced drama that makes you want to change the channel faster than zombies swarm fresh meat. Where Dead Set used the Big Brother house setting to skewer fame culture and survival instincts, Reality Z just throws bodies at the screen and hopes you don't notice the terrible pacing. The characters make decisions so stupid you're actively rooting for the zombies, and the cultural tweaks that were supposed to add local Brazilian flavor just feel like bad jokes that miss the mark. The whole thing feels like someone watched Dead Set once, forgot most of it, and then tried to recreate it from memory while drunk. Resident Evil from 2022 is another disaster with the A 26% rating. This Netflix series had everything going for it, a massive fan base from the games, decades of lore to pull from, and a budget that could have made something special. Instead, we got 2 timelines that make no sense, characters nobody cares about, and zombies that feel like an afterthought in their own show. But here's the thing about trash shows. They teach us what not to do, and Level 2 shows learned absolutely nothing from these mistakes. We're moving to basic shows, and somehow they're even more forgettable than the garbage we just covered. Level 2, basic shows. These shows aren't offensively bad, they're just forgettable. You might watch them once when you're desperate for zombie content, but you'll struggle to remember plot details a week later. They're the white bread of zombie television. Freakish ran for 2 seasons on Hulu from 2016 to 2017, and perfectly embodies mediocre zombie TV. The premise puts a group of high school students trapped in their school after a chemical plant explosion turns everyone outside into mutated freaks. It's essentially Breakfast Club meets zombie apocalypse, which sounds cool until you realize the show is 90% teen relationship drama and 10% actual zombie survival. But it's not as bad as Death Valley. Death Valley from MTV in 2011 tried something different with a mockumentary style following cops who deal with zombies, vampires, and werewolves in the San Fernando Valley. It's like Cops meets monster hunting, which should be hilarious, but mostly just falls flat. The comedy rarely lands, the found footage style gets old fast, and the supernatural law enforcement angle isn't explored deeply enough to be interesting. MTV canceled it after 1 season because nobody really cared enough to keep watching. The zombies retain some intelligence for police chase sequences, which is a neat twist, but it's not enough to save the show from being completely forgettable. Daybreak from 2019 on Netflix at least tried to be quirky. This teen post-apocalyptic show features a high school student searching for his girlfriend after biological weapons turn most adults into zombie-like creatures called ghoulies. The show goes heavy on the meta humor, constantly breaking the fourth wall and throwing in pop culture references like it's cramming for a BuzzFeed quiz. Some people found this style charming, but most viewers thought it was trying way too hard to be Scott Pilgrim or Deadpool, without understanding why those properties worked. Netflix pulled the plug after 1 season, probably because the show couldn't decide if it wanted to be a serious survival story or a comedy, so it failed at being both. These basic shows prove slapping zombies on screen isn't enough, but what happens when creators actually try? Level 3 is where things get fun, and I mean zombie tornadoes kind of fun. Level 3, novice shows. Now we're getting into shows that are actually fun to watch even if they're not going to win any awards. These are solid entertainment that knows exactly what it is and delivers on that promise without pretending to be high art. You'll have a good time, but probably won't be thinking about deeper meanings afterward. Z Nation from 2014 to 2018 ran for 68 episodes of pure campy zombie chaos. Where The Walking Dead takes itself deadly serious, Z Nation embraces the absurdity of the apocalypse and cranks the weird meter to 11. The show follows a group transporting Murphy, the only known survivor of a zombie bite, across the country so his blood can create a vaccine. Along the way, they encounter zombie tornadoes, blasters that explode, phytozombies that are part plant, and other mutations that make zero scientific sense but are entertaining as hell. Z Nation never pretends to be prestigious TV, but it commits fully to its B-movie energy and creates something genuinely enjoyable for 68 episodes. Black Summer is Z Nation's spiritual prequel, but with all the comedy stripped out and replaced with brutal realism. This Netflix series from 2019 to 2021 shows the early days of the outbreak with a raw documentary style that feels like you're watching actual people try to survive. The infected here are terrifyingly fast, relentless, and unpredictable. There's minimal dialogue, no commercial breaks to catch your breath on the streaming platform, and every encounter with zombies feels genuinely dangerous. The show follows various survivors whose paths intersect, including Rose searching for for her daughter, and it doesn't pull punches about who lives or dies. Now these novice shows are entertaining, but they're missing something crucial. There's one element that separates a fun zombie show from one that actually matters. We'll see it fully realized at level 6, but level 4 is where shows start figuring it out. Santa Clarita Diet lasted 3 seasons from 2017 to 2019 and proved zombie comedy could work on network TV if you commit to the premise. Drew Barrymore plays Sheila, a suburban realtor who becomes undead and needs to eat human flesh to function. The twist is, she's not a shambling monster, but gains enhanced senses and superhuman abilities while maintaining her personality and relationships. The show is a dark comedy about marriage, parenting, and suburban life, where the main challenge is finding bad people to kill and eat without getting caught. Sheila's family helps her manage the condition while trying to find a cure, leading to situations that are equal parts gross and hilarious. Netflix canceled it after 3 seasons despite fan popularity, leaving storylines unresolved and proving that even good zombie comedies can't escape the network acts. High School of the Dead, from 2010, is an anime that splits opinion between people who love its high-octane action and people who hate its excessive fan service. The show follows a group of high school students and a nurse fighting through Japan during a zombie outbreak caused by creatures called them. The animation is gorgeous when it comes to combat sequences, with katanas dealing massive slashing damage against zombie crowds and creative uses of school equipment as weapons. The zombies are fast-moving with exaggerated anime gore features, low resistance to headshots, and pack-hunting behaviors that make them legitimately threatening. The problem is, the camera spends as much time focused on improbable physics-defying anatomy as it does on actual zombie killing. Beetle from 2020 is an Indian Netflix miniseries that brings something different to zombie lore with colonial curse zombies. The show features a team of security contractors who disturb an ancient temple and unleash British zombie soldiers cursed to guard it forever. These aren't viral zombies or fungal infected, they're supernatural undead bound by black magic from India's colonial past. The series uses the zombie outbreak as a vehicle to explore India's complicated history with British rule, making the monsters literal ghosts of colonialism. The production values are solid, the scares work, and the cultural specificity makes it stand out in a genre dominated by Western perspectives. It's only a miniseries, so it doesn't overstay its welcome, telling a complete story in a handful of episodes. The zombies here follow different rules than most shows, requiring specific cultural knowledge to combat effectively. These novice shows prove zombies can be fun, but what if you want zombies and actual good television? Level 4 is where the genre grows up, and one country is absolutely dominating this tier. Spoiler alert, it's not America. Level 4, mid-shows. These shows are legitimately good television that happen to feature zombies. They have strong production values, compelling characters, and stories worth following even if they're not quite masterpieces. You'll recommend these to friends without hesitation. All of Us Are Dead premiered in 2022 and became Netflix's Korean zombie phenomenon by trapping students in a high school during an outbreak. The show has genuine heart and develops its large cast of characters beyond zombie fodder. The virus originates from a bullied student's father who creates it trying to make his son stronger, leading to ground zero at their school. What makes this show work is how it uses the zombie premise to explore bullying, class conflict, friendship, and the pressure Korean students face. The infected move with superhuman speed and bloodshot eyes, creating genuinely tense action sequences as students barricade classrooms and navigate hallways. The student groups that form reflect real social dynamics with popular kids, outcasts, and bullies all forced to work together or die. Season 2 is confirmed for 2025, proving the show resonated with audiences who wanted zombie horror with actual character development. Fear the Walking Dead started as The Walking Dead's companion series in 2015 and ran until 2023 with a completely different vibe from its parent show. Instead of waking up after the apocalypse started, Fear shows the collapse happening in real time in Los Angeles. We see society crumbling, the military failing, and normal people realizing the world is ending. The early seasons are genuinely gripping as they explore how quickly civilization falls apart when walkers appear. It showed that not every zombie show needs to rehash the same beats, and exploring the actual collapse adds new dimensions to the genre. These mid-tier shows are legitimately good, but notice something? They're all playing it relatively safe. Zombies are still the bad guys. Survival is still the goal. But what if we flipped that? Level 5 is where creators said screw safety and tried something completely different. One show made zombies into a murder-solving gimmick. Another asked what if zombies could be cured and reintegrated into society? These cult classics took risks that either paid off brilliantly or became beloved disasters. Ash vs. Evil Dead ran from 2015 to 2018 and brought Sam Raimi's Evil Dead movies to TV with all the gore and humor intact. Bruce Campbell returns as Ash Williams, the chainsaw-handed hero fighting Deadites, which are demons possessing corpses rather than traditional zombies. These Deadites have intelligence and speech, often taunting heroes and using strategy instead of just shambling forward mindlessly. seamlessly. The show embraces practical effects and over-the-top violence, with blood spraying like geysers and limbs flying in every direction. Ash is older now, working retail and trying to avoid his destiny until the Necronomicon causes more demon outbreaks. He has to stop. Quick side note, if you're enjoying this video and want to get exclusive content and talk to other people interested in this stuff, join my Discord with the link in the description. Happiness from 2021 is a Korean series that used zombies as a metaphor for pandemic isolation in an apartment building. The mad people here are rage zombies triggered by a failed drug trial, and they're only dangerous when in rage mode, otherwise appearing human. The show takes place primarily in one high-rise that gets locked down during an outbreak, forcing residents from different economic classes to coexist and survive together. What's brilliant is how the show uses the zombie threat to explore real tensions about class, hoarding, and who deserves help during a crisis. The apartment becomes a microcosm of society with a resident committee trying to govern, an economy based on rationing supplies, and constant outbreaks threatening everyone. Combat strategy focuses on tranquilizers and isolation rather than headshots, and the show is more interested in the psychological horror of being trapped than constant action. In the Flesh aired from 2013 to 2014 and might be the most empathetic zombie show ever made. After a zombie uprising ends, the undead are treated with drugs and reintegrated into society as sufferers of partially deceased syndrome. The show follows Kieran Walker, a young man who died and rose as a zombie, but is now medicated and trying to return to his small town. The zombies here appear human-like but pale, and they need medication to maintain control and cover their undead appearance with makeup. What makes this show special is how it uses zombies as a metaphor for mental health, PTSD, and accepting those who are different. It's a completely different take on zombie media that focuses on aftermath and recovery rather than survival horror. The BBC cancelled it after 2 short seasons, but fans still consider it groundbreaking for asking what happens after the outbreak ends and whether zombies can be victims too. These mid-tier shows prove zombies work best when they serve the story rather than being the whole story. They use the undead to explore class, trauma, collapse, and humanity in ways that elevate them beyond simple horror. You'll remember these shows for their characters and themes, not just the gore. The Infection reaches critical mass at Level 5. Level 5, cult classic shows. iZombie ran on the CW from 2015 to 2019 for 5 seasons of zombie procedural comedy. Olivia Moore becomes a zombie and works at a morgue where she eats brains to maintain her sanity and humanity. The twist is, she absorbs memories and personality traits from the brains she consumes, using this to solve murders as a psychic detective. Each episode becomes a crime of the week where Liv takes on different personas depending on whose brain she ate, leading to comedy as she becomes a dominatrix, a frat bro, a theater kid, or whoever died. The zombies here are human-like but pale, and they need regular brain consumption to avoid going full Romero. The series is based on Vertigo comics, but softens the graphic violence for network TV and adds romantic elements. What makes it cult classic is the perfect balance of humor, mystery, and heart across 71 episodes. The show never takes itself too seriously, but also doesn't mock the premise, creating something unique in the zombie genre. Fans love the characters, the creative Brain of the Week episodes, and how the show built a complete mythology with factions, cures, and zombie islands by the end. Dead Set from 2008 is the British miniseries that defined zombie satire before anyone else tried. This 5-episode series puts Big Brother contestants and crew in the house during a zombie outbreak, trapping them with cameras rolling. Creator Charlie Brooker uses the setup to skewer reality TV, fame obsession, and how people behave when the cameras are watching versus when survival matters. The zombies are standard Romero shamblers, but the real horror is watching vapid reality stars make terrible decisions because they're used to manufactured drama instead of real danger. The house becomes a fortress, but also a prison, as characters argue about who's in charge while the undead surround them. The show influenced countless imitators, including Reality Z, but none captured the sharp British cynicism of the original. It's a miniseries, so it tells a complete brutal story without overstaying its welcome, ending on a note so dark it stays with you. The Last Kids on Earth ran on Netflix from 2019 to 2021 as an animated series perfect for younger zombie fans. Based on the book series, it follows kids surviving in a monster-filled post-apocalypse with cartoonish zombies and mutants. What makes it cult classic is how it captures the wish fulfillment fantasy of kids getting to live without adults while fighting monsters. The animation is colorful and energetic. The humor lands for both kids and adults, and it proves zombie content doesn't always need to be dark and gritty. The show ran for 3 seasons and a feature film, developing genuine heart as the kids form found family bonds and learned survival skills. It's the show that got a whole generation of young viewers into zombie media without traumatizing them, walking the line between fun adventure and genuine stakes. Revival premiered in 2025 on Sci-Fi and immediately became a cult hit for doing something completely different. On one day in a small Wisconsin town, dead people simply return to life acting completely normal. They're not aggressive, not decaying, just alive again as if nothing happened. The show is less zombie apocalypse and more mystery thriller about what this miraculous resurrection means. Sheriff Dana Cypress investigates the phenomenon while dealing with her own mother being among the revived. The town divides between people welcoming their loved ones back and those who think it's wrong or dangerous. The show plays with themes of grief, letting go, and whether getting a second chance is always good. Cult classics prove innovation matters, but innovation without execution is just chaos. Level 6 is where creators had both the vision and the budget to pull off something special. We're talking about HBO money, Disney Plus budgets, shows that made critics who hate horror actually pay attention. And one of them has a 97% Rotten Tomatoes rating that seems physically impossible for zombie content. Level 6, Masterclass shows. Kingdom is the South Korean historical zombie thriller that ran for 2 seasons from 2019 to 2020 and redefined what zombie TV could be. Set in Korea's Joseon period, it combines period drama with horror as a mysterious plague of the undead spreads through the kingdom during political upheaval. The Crown Prince investigates the outbreak while navigating court intrigue and conspiracies. The zombies here are pale, feral, and nocturnal because heat triggers their dormancy, so they only attack at night. This creates a unique rhythm where characters must survive until dawn when the undead become dormant. The plague is tied to a resurrection plant, giving it historical and supernatural origins that feel grounded in the period. What elevates Kingdom is how it uses zombies to explore class warfare, with nobles viewing peasants as expendable and the undead plague affecting the poor first, while the rich hide in their fortresses. The cinematography is gorgeous, the action choreography is brutal and precise, and the Korean historical setting makes every aspect feel fresh. The show spawned a special episode called Ashen of the North, exploring the plant-based zombie origins. Kingdom proves zombie shows can be both terrifying and beautiful, honoring their culture while delivering universal themes about power and survival. The Returned originally aired in France from 2012 to 2015 and earned a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes for its haunting approach to the undead. Dead people return to a small mountain town acting as if they never died, with no memory of their deaths and no explanation for their return. These aren't shambling zombies or infected, they're just back, appearing exactly as they once did. The show is a slow burn mystery and character drama about grief, moving on, and what happens when you get back what you lost. A bus of dead children returns years after the accident. A woman's husband comes back though she's remarried. The town slowly realizes something supernatural is happening as more dead arrive. The show explores whether resurrection is a gift or a curse, and how the living have changed in ways the returned can't understand. The French Alps setting creates an isolated, eerie atmosphere perfect for the story. There was a US remake in 2015 that added more procedural elements but couldn't capture the original's dreamlike quality. The French version remains a masterclass in using zombie resurrection concepts for deep emotional storytelling rather than cheap scares. Now you're probably thinking these are the best zombie shows ever made. Kingdom with its historical epic scale, The Returned with its 97% rating and emotional depth. And honestly, for most of TV history, you'd be right. But then 2023 happened. One video game adaptation did something no zombie show had ever done before. It made the genre prestige television on the same level as Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. And even that isn't the most influential zombie show ever made. The Last of Us premiered in 2023 as HBO's adaptation of the acclaimed video game, and immediately became one of the highest rated shows on television with a 97% tomatometer and 96% audience score. The show follows Joel and Ellie across a fungal zombie apocalypse, with infected ranging from runners to clickers to massive bloaters. The cordyceps fungus is based on real parasitic fungi that control ants, making the premise more scientifically plausible than most zombie media. The show excels at balancing intimate character drama with terrifying action sequences. Each episode explores different survival communities and how people maintain or lose their humanity after 2 decades of apocalypse. The adaptation is faithful to the game while making smart changes for television, including an episode about 2 gay men surviving together that became instantly iconic. Season 2 is confirmed for 2025, adapting the game's controversial sequel. What makes this masterclass is how it proved zombie media could be prestige HBO drama on par with anything else they produce, attracting viewers who would never normally watch horror. Marvel Zombies released on Disney Plus in September 2025 as the first TVMA animated entry in the MCU. Based on the 2005 comics, it features an alternate universe where a virus zombifies superheroes while they retain their powers and some intelligence. The first looks show zombified versions of Shang-Chi and other heroes with gore that's surprisingly intense for Disney. The series is set to explore what happens when Earth's mightiest heroes become its greatest threat, with superpowered zombies proving almost impossible to stop. If it delivers on its promise, Marvel Zombies could bring a whole new audience to zombie TV while proving the genre works even with capes and superpowers. These masterclass shows represent the absolute peak of zombie television. Except they don't, because there's one show that existed before most of these, that made all of them possible, that's still expanding its universe in 2025. Every show we've talked about, from the trash to the masterpieces, exists because this one proved zombies could be mainstream primetime drama for over a decade. Level 7 isn't just the best zombie show, it's the only one that actually changed television forever. Level 7, timeless shows. The Walking Dead ran from 2010 to 2022 for 177 episodes and changed television forever. Adapted from Robert Kirkman's comics, it followed Rick Grimes waking from a coma into a world overrun by walkers and trying to keep his family and group alive. What made it timeless wasn't the zombies, which are slow shambling corpses attracted to noise and killed by headshots. It was how the show used the apocalypse to explore what humans become when society collapses. Rick's group encounters various communities, each with different philosophies about survival. The walkers evolved from the main threat in early seasons to background danger as humans became the real monsters. Variants emerged like climbers, and eventually fast runners in later seasons and spin-offs. The show introduced iconic characters and moments that became part of pop culture. Glenn's dumpster fake-out, the red machete, Negan's Lucille bat, and his speech about Pee-Pee Pants City. Rick's "We're the Walking Dead" realization that the title refers to the survivors, not the zombies. The show had its peaks and valleys across 11 seasons, with some arguing it should have ended earlier, but its cultural impact is undeniable. What makes it truly timeless is how it created the template modern zombie shows follow or deliberately subvert: long-form serialized storytelling in the apocalypse, safe havens that inevitably fall, villains who think they're heroes. The show proved audiences would stick with zombie content for over a decade if you gave them characters to care about and kept asking difficult moral questions. The Walking Dead isn't perfect, but perfection isn't what makes something timeless. It's influence, longevity, and cultural penetration. It took zombies from niche horror to a genre that dominates streaming platforms and networks worldwide. It proved you could build an entire fictional universe around the apocalypse, and audiences would follow you there for over 200 episodes across multiple shows. It launched the zombie TV boom that gave us all the other shows on this list. For that alone, it stands as the only truly timeless zombie television series. If you enjoyed this video and want to see the 7 levels of zombie viruses, click the video on the screen.